You're alone in your living room. The lights are off. The muted blue glare of the TV reminds you just how helpless you really are. The wind howls. Thunder shrieks. And the attic creaks. A knock at the door surprises you.
These aren't the droids we ordered.
I know.
You stand as the door crashes open, and the murder crew enters your home.
Oh, yeah.
They yell jokes, pop culture references, and start mansplaining some of the most vile true crimes you've ever heard of. You listen to them, unsure at first, but relax into it. Pretty soon you're laughing, horrified and strangely turned on. At some point they've realized they've forgotten to introduce themselves. They grew in your heart for Grant, Jamie, Austin, Carlton, Joseph, and the friends, lovers, and our acquaintances they pressure into hanging out. Like your creepy intern that wears black and has a borderline personality disorder.
Could I get you anything?
Make room for murder's murder!
Dude, him just standing there breathing.
Oh, that's easy. Don't pick the part of the message.
Are you mad at me? Is it because I microwave salmon in the break room?
I'm sorry.
For the record, we talked about like what the opener should be for 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah, and now we're just sitting here like jackass.
Now we're like, how about porn stories? Yeah, let's just keep it simple.
What's something relatable?
I would say that Jack and It's pretty evergreen. You know what I mean?
I would say so.
You don't
I
have
think
to worry about.
You could go back to a club in ancient Mesopotamia, 1950s France, or right here and talk about
right
Jack
here,
and
right
off.
now. I
Yeah.
know.
You know?
I would say, jokes about sex or poop or farts.
Timeless.
They're
Timeless
timeless.
works of art.
They're timeless because, we all got bodies.
Yeah,
you know?
we've all got bodies.
We all got to deal with that shit.
Sometimes they get smelly or they get, sweaty or they feel weird or they feel good. It's bodies are inherently funny. Probably one of the first, I guess you could say, bits was like some Neolithic hunter just farted real hard and drove an elk away, and the other one was like,
Funny enough, I did learn one time. I was like, what is the oldest joke? The oldest recorded joke that we have access to, right, that survived time, is a joke that essentially boils down to, I massively got lost in translation because it's not that funny. It must have been hilarious to them, but
you had to be there.
I guess so. You had to be there. But the joke is basically a wife sits in her husband's lap and farts on him. That's the punchline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
the very first joke ever is lady fart.
I was working on this. I was working on this bit where I was like, I'm a feminist, but I'm also. I recently found out I'm a sexist, in the sense like, I think when men fart, it's hilarious, but when women fart, I'm just like, what happened?
You don't think it's funny?
No, it doesn't
Really?
have the same weight.
Man, me and my wife, we will sit on the couch and fart and burp and laugh.
See,
A true feminist.
See, like with Sarah, like when we first started dating, like I tried my damnedest to not be gross, to not just be burping while talking and farting and just generally be the like 3 raccoons in a trench coat that I am.
For the record, Joseph, last time we had like a really deep conversation. We ended the conversation with him talking about how much he shits. Do you remember that, Joseph?
Hey, that's great, though. I would consider that healthy.
So, like, remember when I had like the meltdown and I was just like, can we go on a walk? And you were like, yeah, we can talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, we had a really good talk. It was really healthy.
Yeah,
and
when we were walking around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, I've been thinking about my shits a lot lately. Like, as I told Jamie, I have been a vegetarian now for like almost 2 months, maybe over, maybe a little bit over.
Right.
And that's been feeling good. But now I'm like pooping a normal amount.
It's kind of weird, isn't it?
It is weird. Like I'm like twice a day and that's it. And I'm like, what? Like I thought there's no more like hot gravel.
Jesus Christ. See, I was telling him the opposite. Like when I went vegetarian, I was like vegetarian for like 2 years, and then I was pescatarian for another year. Like I shat so much. I was way more regular.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like eating like just veggies and rice and beans all day.
Well, see, now I am regular and I wasn't really before. Like, like it used to be like my mornings were just rough. Like it was just like.
I'm literally experiencing that right now.
Yeah, first cup of coffee.
I'm a little
and some
stressed,
cigarettes.
you know, and I don't have time to like make good food for me, you know, that kind of thing. So it's like chug a protein shake in the morning and then run around and do stuff. It's like, oh, fuck, I forgot to eat. And it's like, what's around me? Oh, a sandwich. Oh, okay, whatever. And then like I go to work at the bar and I'm like, hey, make me something. And then they give me like a hot pepper filled like cheese on the outside and inside pork quesadilla, and I'm like, well, that's food. And then the next morning, it's bad. It's like the you wake up 5 minutes before your alarm and you're like, why am I awake? And then your stomach goes, it's time.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's just been like sitting there like just like slowly liquefying all night. Yeah.
Yep.
Now I like wake up, take my big one, and then like go work out, come back, take another big one, and then I'm just off to work and I'm ready to go.
All right,
See, now
Mr.
I'm thinking that, like-
Healthmeister.
I have kind of become that douchebag where I'm like, you guys should really try cutting animal proteins out of your diet. It's amazing.
No, 100% actually.
I want you to think of
I've just been enjoying it.
Grant's like gut fauna. Just working like coal miners, just like trying to break down this pork quesadilla. Like, we're dying by the thousands. Get it done.
I feel like I
Seriously,
picture like
though.
Grant's stomach like a busy warehouse where they're like, you know, like banding stuff together, like packaging it, you know, like using the little mini cranes and the forklifts and everything. And they just about clear out this pile. And then they just hear the beep, beep, beep of this like huge delivery semi backing up. You know, it's just like, we got more stuff to unload. It's like, God, how much more can we take? Like,
The union says we can't do anymore.
oh no, Grant's stomach is definitely a non-union warehouse.
That's true. Yeah. It you get fired if you join the union. down there.
You get fired just bringing up the union.
Oh yeah, they'll like, it's like blood in, blood out.
Yeah, it's Amazon down there for sure.
Welcome to another episode of Murder Schmurder.
Yeah, welcome folks. We're glad to have you with us.
Today we are going to be hosted by the beautiful, immaculate,
The inimitable,
sexy.
the
Wait,
funny.
I thought I read this episode.
You did. I'm
Yeah, we're hyping you up.
yeah.
Bitch.
Yeah. I'm about to pass you the rock, and then you're about to fucking slam dunk.
One of my personal favorite people is about to guide us on a journey. And I am the Samwise to his Frodo. I'm just here to help this shit along.
This makes me very uncomfortable.
I'm like the
also
Schmiegel.
it.
Like I'm helping along, but I'm kind of like
Jamie
conniving
is
against them.
100% the Schmiegel right
Yeah.
now.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here to help you guys. No, I'm not. I need to kill them and get the fucking ring. The podcast is mine. She's my precious.
What are you talking about, Jamie? Nothing.
Nothing.
I was just
Sorry.
waiting for Grant to introduce this amazing podcast.
So today, my name's Grant. Hello.
I'm
Today
Joseph.
Jamie.
we are going to be talking about. Now, I named him this because I like it better. I guess I like this version of alliteration better. So I called him the Cannibal Cowboy.
Ooh.
I like it.
Technically speaking, his actual, press name, if you will, is the Kentucky Cannibal.
Yeah, I like Cannibal Cowboy.
I like Cannibal Cowboy
because
better.
it makes you think like before he like, kills a lady, he meets her, and then like when he meets her, he flicks his hands like, "Howdy, miss."
Yeah, like he
He is
kinda
not
doffs
that
his
man,
cap,
by the way.
pulls out his Marlboro and he's like, "Well, you never let a lady light her own cigarette."
Right. No, he is not even a little bit that guy.
Oh,
But nice, strong entrance, Jay. No, you good, buddy.
no, you're good, man.
Justin, you want to join us?
That's why we have an editor. He's got to go to work.
Surprise guest.
You good, buddy?
See ya.
Have a good night.
Have fun at work.
That was fun.
Steven, that was our surprise guest.
That was an off-screen appearance for all you diehard podcast fans that I know you love.
Oh man, where were we though?
The
Kentucky
Cowboy
Cowboy?
Cannibal?
Kentucky
Cannibal Cowboy?
Yeah, and you were talking about tipping the hat and stuff, and I was like, he's not that.
He's
guy.
not at all like that.
Cool. No, he's not at all like that at all. It's kind of the opposite, basically, really. Yeah. Like, seriously,
okay.
This dude is something else. But I think before we launch into our meat and potatoes of this particular episode, a little bit of fun intro stuff. I think we are going to talk about funny porn stories, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Yeah.
Is there any thematic elements of this pornography? The first time you jacked off, or just the weirdest thing you've seen? Or
I'm going to go with when my parents caught me.
Yeah, I'm in too, actually. Yeah.
God. All right.
All right. So I'll start since I.
Please do.
Okay. Now, remember, my age, 33 years young. At this point in my development, there was one very large, heavy desktop computer that was plugged directly
computer.
into the wall, right? It had its own room, thankfully. It was technically the guest room, but it, of course, became the computer room once we had a computer, That was the thing. AOL style, like
Dial up? Please
oh
tell me
yeah.
dial. Oh, yeah.
Of course, baby.
Oh, yeah.
You can't
It
be on
sounds
the
like-
phone and be looking at porn at the same time. That's not
It sounds like someone feeding tree branches through a copier,
yeah.
and you're just like already getting hard because
That's
you Pavloved
exactly what it
yourself.
sounds like, and you're right. It
Yeah.
was like the fucking dinner bell, and
Yeah, you're just like, oh, it's porn time, baby.
my mom worked a lot, and I think. Yeah, so my brother at this point, he also had like a little part-time job and stuff like that too. So I was 100% convinced I had the house to myself. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, one, I can get on and I can chat with my buds. And two, I can look at pictures of naked ladies.
Sure.
Hang on real quick. Just for all the listeners out there that don't know what dial-up sounds like because you're too young.
Oh my God.
This is the sound that you had.
You're making me feel so old.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit. Oh, what a blast from the past.
This is the sound that made teenage boys all over the world at a certain time get hard.
Yeah. This was the sound that you heard before someone emailed you in a private message group and asked for pictures of your adolescent wiener.
That's true. That did happen way too much back then.
Yeah. It's like I forget about like Chris Hansen sometimes, but like every once in a while, it's just like, yeah, man, those chat rooms were filthy. Like, I don't know that every one of them was some 50-year-old in fucking Arkansas, like trying to get at you, but it sure seemed like there were a lot of them around.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of weirdos.
Yeah.
And you got your garden variety weirdos who were like
Right.
mostly harmless, but people kind of went off on the internet. I mean, I know people do now,
It was the Wild West,
but
though.
it was
There
like
was no
4chan
oversight.
back
Yeah.
in the day.
Dude, that shit was nuts.
For the record, boomers back in the day were saying, like, don't trust the internet. Like, don't trust anything. Don't buy anything. And now they're just like,
Now they're just see something
Facebook says.
right. They're just like, they're like,
That
Facebook
drives
said
me
that Joe
crazy.
Biden's selling Chinese babies to Americans, and I want to make my own babies.
Yeah, and I'm like, where did you hear that? And like, on this, and it takes me 10 seconds to be like, that's a rag. That's a fucking just bullshit thing that someone wrote, and then 10 people shared it, and then now all of a sudden it's valid to you. That please just use a little bit of that same fear or willingness to like double check the resources.
What's crazy
you know what I mean?
is how much people will suspend their disbelief immediately.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, did you know that Skittles is making fentanyl now and it looks just like regular Skittles? And it's
I
like,
remember that one.
No,
yeah.
that's not. No.
No, there
one-
was a series. It was a brief running of tablets that had S's on them that people put too much fentanyl in.
Yeah.
Like, come the fuck on.
Also,
You know?
why would you waste drugs by giving them to children? Like,
People don't do that.
no one does that. No one who can make money off of or enjoy drugs is just going to be like, oh, this random fucking dipshit 12-year-old just showed up on my door for Halloween.
Here you go,
I guess
buddy.
I'll just give him all the drugs that I worked hard to buy and pay
Yeah.
for.
I mean, I've been at a music festival and like taken a drag off of something before.
Oh, sure, 'cause
and
that's just polite.
That's just polite. And I was like, what was that?
But you're in the
you know?
environment, you know?
And then they say, give me that back. And I say, of course, this is yours, you know?
And now we
Sharing.
have Elon Musk and Jordan Peterson being like, I found this on the internet. And you're like, dude.
Dude.
I know.
And you still have people who are just like, these guys know what's going on.
Right?
They know the inside scoop. It's like, just look at the comments. Just
The bad researcher and the heir to a blood emerald mine don't know what they're talking about.
No, they
I'm
don't.
sorry to break it to you, but
Right.
they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I know. Anyways, back to it, okay?
Yeah,
I think I'm home alone.
Okay.
Right? Now, also remember, this is the age of pop-ups, right?
Right.
And if you decide to dive down the rabbit hole, you may find yourself on some like less than popular or regulated websites.
trustable.
Untrustable
You
websites.
might find yourself jacking off to a video where you have to stop because you're like, I don't think that girl's that good an actress. I think she's really crying.
Oh, luckily, it wasn't like that.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah, me neither.
good. So I'm watching my thing. I'm enjoying myself, whatever. And then the pop-ups start, right? And at this point, it's just annoying. You know what I mean? Because you got to find like the little hidden X's to make all the little windows go away so I can get back to the boobies that I was enjoying before.
Sure.
And they just keep coming faster and faster. I'm like, oh, God, this is actually becoming a problem, you know? And then, do you remember some of the pop-up ads would like float away from your mouse?
Oh, yeah.
When you would try and get them, you know?
Yeah,
Or they would have like, instead of an X in the usual spot, they would be like kind of off center or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
So
So-
you just end up clicking on the ad.
Uh-huh. So this is happening to me. 99% of the time when my mom comes home from work, she would go in the garage, which was very loud and directly underneath me. All the warning in the world, you know what I mean? Like, you also have like the absolute fail-safe of just ripping the plug out of the wall if that comes down to it.
Right.
Smart.
This
Very
particular day, she decides to come in through the front door. That was a total surprise, you know? And then, so I have completely unaware of anyone else being inside of this house. And I'm just like trying to get rid of these pops. Like, click, click, click. God damn it. Seriously, I just want to get back to it. And then, like, just no knock, just opens the door to the computer room. Hey, sweetie, I'm home from work. What are you doing? And I go, oh, God, oh, nothing. Click, 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 click. She's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't know. The computer's being weird. And
My
then
pants are down. Unrelated.
and then she walks around behind me. Luckily, I wasn't at the pants down moment yet.
Nice.
Just
Oh,
pure dumb luck is
You
all
just
this is.
super lucked out on
I
that
did. And she looks over my shoulder at the screen, and then the last pop-up that decides to come in is a gigantic black cock with like a Viagra-style ad with
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
it. And I still viscerally remember this moment of just the total fear and embarrassment and shame and just anger. Or I don't know. It was just like it washed over my entire body. I wanted to just jump out of the window due to the moment, but physically, I needed to like rip a wall down or something.
Yeah, you know,
know
feel
when you
physically repulsed.
total like fight or flight
It's
kind of
almost
moment.
like you got
know?
the post-nut like shame without even nutting. Yeah. Which must have made it so much worse.
And she was like, "Oh my God, what is that?" And I was like, "I don't know, Mom. The computer's freaking out. Maybe it's something my brother did." And she was like, "I'm gonna kill him," and just slams the door. And I was like, "Well, I avoided that, but I'm fucking feel terrible, and I'm gonna get my ass kicked by him later." He wasn't allowed to use a computer for like a month.
Okay, how old are you and how old was he?
He was, I think he had just started like working part-time, so he was 16, which made me, no, I think he may have been 17, which made me like 13 and a half, maybe 14.
Did he understand? Because I feel like if I was 17, my little brother did that, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take the heat on this one.
Yeah, I'd be like, I can take this one.
No, we did not have that type of relationship. We were more so, let's see how bad we can fuck the other one over. I'm pretty sure he got me back in some kind of way. I can't remember that because what I just explained, or that's a core memory. Like that's in there.
Yeah.
But I do remember getting in really big trouble not that long afterwards, and it was not my fault. And I remember him smirking at me while she was yelling at me. So
He was just like, I got you back.
He got me back. Yeah, for sure.
Tit for tat, That's brother shit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Anyways, hopefully none of y'all, either my brother nor my mother, listened to that one. But how about you, Joey?
Well, I too did a misdirect one time. I also got caught with my pants down, which was unfortunate.
Physically speaking.
Yeah, physically and metaphorically speaking. Yeah, I was a bit of a late bloomer, so like I was probably like, I was honestly probably like around 13 before I ever actually really like masturbated or like did anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, or ever just kind of like slapped it around a little bit and was like, hey, wake up. What you doing? Kind of manhandling yourself.
Sure.
And so I also, I don't know if this is too much background, but my dad was a preacher for a while, like 10 years, when I was like very young, and then also like before I was born and everything. So my parents, their version of the sex talk was they basically gave me a box of condoms, which I would not need for several years, unfortunately.
Box.
A box of condoms.
Not one, just a box.
A box. Because my dad also ran around a lot before he was a preacher. And so I think...
Okay, so he was like a born-again style guy.
Yeah, I think part of him was like, he's my son. My son's going to fuck.
Yeah.
Sure.
Unfortunately, like I said, I did not take after him in that way, which is also kind of fortunate. Anyway, but he gave me a box of condoms.
You said, unfortunately, I wasn't.
Well,
Keep going, sorry.
And then he gave me a box of condoms, and then he gave me a book called What's Happening to My Body. And he was like, there you go, son.
Awesome.
Figure it out. I did not read the book because why would I? And so I got a copy of a Playboy, and I was just,
Do you remember what year the Playboy was?
I think it was...
Or do you remember the centerfold? That you might remember
honestly, I can almost picture her like strawberry blonde. I think it was an August issue. Birth
remember
month.
What year? Sorry, I think I have several like classic vintage Playboys, and they're
this was like probably like 2005 or 6. Or
not a good time
like
for
that.
Playboy. The 80s were great.
The 80s were great, and like there's a lot of good vintage stuff out there. But I just had like I had the local stuff, or not the local stuff, the current stuff. And I'm
Pamela Anderson, the like huge fake tits with like
this girl was like more like kind of like a slender. I think it was like one of those college issues where it's like very girl next door, which is great. And
what was she doing? Was she was in a barn? Was she a librarian? She was in a barn. Oh, fun. Okay.
Yeah, cool. She had like a little cowboy hat and everything, and like one of those like like work shirts, but like that's it.
Right.
And the boots and everything. And I was just like, okay, just going for it. And I start to like feel it happening, and I'm like, oh man, this must be what everyone's like talking about. This is awesome. And then I ejaculated, fully surprised myself, came all over my own face and my stomach.
Yes.
And like everywhere. Like this was like 13 years of pent up I just painted the side of the barn, man. Like, and that was when my mom decided to check on me.
My God.
I guess just to wish me good night.
So this is the first time.
This is pretty much the first time I've masturbated to like
holy shit
completion.
Yeah.
And I just was like I remember like whipping the Playboy across the room and like just like slamming like down against the bed and like covering myself with blankets and just yelling like, no, I wasn't. Like
and now you're a comedian.
And my mom, yeah, right. And that's the moment I became funny. And then to her credit, she immediately closed the door, did not talk to me the rest of the night, which thank God for that.
Yeah, really.
And but then she had a pretty awkward conversation and I don't mean to be offensive, But when they talk about forced marches throughout history, where you start with like 5,000 people and you just end with 500, it was like the spiritual version of that. Like just a long ass conversation about how, well, we still love you and nothing, you weren't doing anything wrong.
That's so much worse.
And we just want you, we don't want you to feel ashamed. And I'm like, Mom, objectively, you're saying the right things, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But for the love of God, can we just pretend this never happened? Please, can we stop? And
Oh, that's terrible.
and now I am the man I am today.
That's true.
I'm not going to say that was the bedrock of that, but that is, that's like a Jenga piece.
Yeah, man.
That's up in there in the puzzle
Absolutely.
box.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a Lego piece in your castle. I get it.
Yeah.
How about you, Jaime?
So mine was past the dial-up phase. So we had internet, but it was cheap internet because we were super broke. And this was in the time of, if you remember, LimeWire. For all the listeners out there, back in the day.
It's an awesome way to get music and or something that was supposed to be Linkin Park's Meteora and just ends up being Bill Clinton's like, I did not have sex with that woman.
And I
remember that.
It was a great time. So if you wanted music back in the day, you either bought an album or
like a chump.
Yeah, like you had $3 to your name and an album was like 13. You're like, how the fuck do I get that money? Or you just got on LimeWire and downloaded the single you wanted.
Entire discography, if you were me.
But again, we had like cheap internet, so I wasn't able to like download entire albums. I would download singles and stuff like that, but I also found out I could download entire porn videos and like keep them forever. I was just like, damn, so I don't have to have the internet? Yeah, I was like, this is the best thing ever.
I have one that I remember very specifically that I got from LimeWire. That was a part of the heavy rotation for a long time.
Same.
One of the classics.
So in this time, I would just download whatever I could, whatever I found. And there was one, and this was pre-Pornhub, to where like everything was like stepsister or like, stepmom, blah, blah, blah,
I think that's happening now.
This was pre this.
Oh, so that was still like...
Yeah, it was still big. So I found one that I was like, fucked stepsister, or like fucked sister in her room or whatever.
Yeah.
And, of course, like, I'm a horny kid. I'm just like, I know it's not real.
Yeah.
I know it's
That's part of the thing is like, the play
good.
acting, the...
I'm glad that you knew the artistry that was
Well, you don't
behind.
want to get porn brain. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to get too wrapped up into it where everything you think about is like tinged with that. Like you got to be able to separate yourself.
Exactly. But so I download this. I have it for months. But again, for all the listeners out there, LimeWire was also riddled with whatever you downloaded. It was normally coming with what is called Trojans or viruses.
Yeah.
So it would just give your family computer, because again, this is back in the day.
We all had one computer.
Yeah, it was one computer.
The family computer.
Absolutely.
And the family computer was tanking. It couldn't open. It couldn't do anything. And my dad hired this one guy to fix the computer. The guy fixes the computer, and I'm like not thinking anything about it. And they find the video. I come home from school, and my parents are like, we need you to come into the living room, because the family computer was in the living room. And I'm like, okay, what's up? And they were like, we need to talk about something that's on the computer. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, no one knows. So I'm thinking I'm good. It was like, the guy fixed the computer, but he also found this. And all they saw was the video title, like, guy fucks his sister.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's right.
That's so much worse.
So at the time, I'm 14, and there's a 7-year difference between me and my sister. So they're thinking I like...
Oof. Yeah.
Either I'm into fucking my sister or have fucked my sister
or
and
have
filmed
thought about it at the very least.
Or have thought about it in the very least. And they're like, we're going to watch this as a family.
As a family?
And we're going to make sure what's going on. And my father, my mother, and I watched the video in its entirety. And I'm just standing there like...
How long was this video?
15 minutes. And I'm just like, I remember the moment But I also remember disassociating from
Yes,
it
yeah.
so hard. Just being like, I'm not here. I am anywhere else.
I would have swallowed my own tongue just to be like, I'm out.
Like, you know, when people are like, I'm on a beach and I hear seagulls, I was like, no, I am the seagull. I'm just floating in the air. Like, and like we finished the video and then I feel like I came to, and then my mom was like, I'm ashamed to call you my son. And I was like,
brutal.
and I was like, that is fair. And my dad was just like, you know, it's not as bad as I thought.
I made sure the guy didn't delete the video.
And so they were like, okay, so you don't want to like have sex with your sister. I was like, no, that's just
It's
like
art.
the worst part is trying to explain it to someone. Like, no, that's just the title of, you know what? Never mind. Like, no, the answer is no. And they just like deleted it right there in front of me. And I was like, okay. And they were like, now go do your homework.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you're going to crack a book at that moment.
No, I'm going to go stare into the corner of my room and just wish I was gone.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
No, it was
It's an awesome story. Terrible for you.
terrible for me. Well, I was just like, I hope this never happens again.
Dude. Look at you being all like mentally somewhat sound too. You know what I mean? Like the
dude.
fact that you're even like walking around and just talking and like interacting with people. Like,
Yeah.
good for you, man. You came back from it.
Yeah, you putting on shoes today. Let's call that a win. You know what I mean? With laces, I assume, you know.
Oh, no.
We're not at the laces part yet.
We're Velcro,
we're working
baby.
that way.
Slip-ons are Velcro only.
We'll get to laces eventually, Grant. Come on.
Oh, that's great. All right, so you guys want to hop into this duty?
Let's get into this Cannibal Cowboy.
Yeah, man.
Yeehaw!
So I'm assuming we've all gathered that this pleasant little ditty takes place during the times of the Wild West.
Yeah, there's gold in them hills.
I was just thinking that. Gold!
So our man's name for this evening is Levi Boone Helm.
Levi Boonhelm?
Levi Boone Helm.
That's awesome.
That
That's an
is
awesome
a great
name.
cowboy
Yeah.
name.
Honestly, I think this dude should have like more airtime and notoriety, more stories about him, because this shit seriously is nuts. Hats off to a lot of the other really popular, Wild West characters and stuff
Sure,
like that.
Pecos
but, like,
Bill, Wild Bill Hickok. A lot of Bills.
Yeah. But like honestly, he was the epitome of how truly dark these times could be, and just reeked of the person that I'm hoping that you're picturing in your head. Cannibal Cowboy, right? Dumb, tough, ugly, a man of few words, and probably smelled fucking terrible.
See, I'm imagining that, like, he said his full name every time someone asked him his name. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what's your name? Not Levi. It's like, my name's Levi Boone Hill. All right.
Yeah, because like you never knew when you were just going to die of cholera, so you kind of had to say your full name. That way they know what to put on the gravestone.
Sure, or you didn't know when this guy might kill you.
Yeah, that too. And then when you get to the pearly gates, you can be like, yeah, it was Levi Boone Helm. He said that a lot.
It's like, Jesus, another one? Get in line. Yeah. Actually, he is thought of as the America's first serial killer.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of fun.
Nice.
But stories of this era and other famous outlaws and lawmen alike have been told so many times that the notion of tall tales is pretty synonymous with these characters, with death counts double or triple of real historical documentation. But not our man Levi. He confessed to killing 18 men and eating at least 2 of them. Could have been many more, considering he was dabbling in this lovely little hobby of his for about 14 years and was hanged before the Civil War. Just to give you guys a little bit of time here.
God.
Now, according to Wild West biographer Emerson Holm, here's a quote for you. Boone Helm was bad, and nothing in the world could have made him anything but bad. He was by birth and breeding low, coarse, cruel, animal-like, and utterly depraved, and no other name than ruffian can apply.
Ouch. That's a pretty hard condemnation from a historian.
Can we say any other word than ruffian? Because ruffian doesn't sound that bad.
What about a scoundrel?
Sure. I mean, I think at the time that
He's
that dude,
nothing but a low-down scoundrel ruffian. Is that bad?
He's as low down as a snake's belly. And I'll tell you what, that scoundrel come back here, I'm going to shoot him with my shotgun.
So Boone Helm was born in Lincoln County, Kentucky, into what was considered an honest, hardworking, and respected family who moved to Jackson Township, Monroe County, Missouri, when he was still a boy. Helm delighted in demonstrating feats of strength and agility, such as throwing his Bowie knife into the ground and retrieving it from horseback at full gallop.
Shit.
Nice.
And
That's impressive.
torturing younger and smaller kids.
That's less impressive. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how he tortured him.
I think he beat the shit out of them.
Oh, that's not as inventive as that's not as impressive.
No, I don't think there's really any feats of agility with it. I think he was
It's
just,
just I caught that kid and beat the shit out of him.
yeah, I think he would just kick him. You know what I mean? And one
But from
demonst-
horseback.
but from horseback, I hope. I really do.
I hope so.
In one demonstration of his contempt for authority, Helm, on horseback, rebuffed a sheriff's attempt to arrest him by walking his horse up the stairs of a courthouse and into the courtroom while the circuit court was in session, and by verbally haranguing the judge, who then just let him off out of fear.
That's pretty great. Whatever else he did.
He was such a jackass as a kid, as a teenager.
Yeah.
The sheriff tried to arrest him, and instead of that, he just rode his horse into court and yelled at the judge until he let him off.
Yeah, that'd be like if you drove your Honda Civic through the fucking courthouse to get out of juvie, and it worked.
Yeah. Oh, so awesome. This guy's so awful, but kind of a badass, honestly. Like what was our first episode, right?
Yeah, it was.
Who was not a badass.
He was.
He was kind of a badass.
He spit his dad's heart out like a bitch.
This guy did not spit any hearts out.
This guy actually ate people.
He legit did. So now in 1848, Helm married 17-year-old Lucinda Frances Browning in Monroe County, Missouri, and fathered a daughter, Lucy.
He was probably, around the same age?
I think at that point he was in his early 20s. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, in Missouri, waiting until they're 17 is very polite.
It wasn't a huge age discrepancy, and you're right. Honestly, it's not like he was 40 going after a 17-year-old or anything like that. But still, he murdered a bunch of people and ate some of them. So
yeah.
Well, hang on. Let's just clarify. Some people don't deserve to live. Some people deserve to die. Mm-hmm. He could have potentially killed bad people. We don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, but I'm not going to land on his side just yet.
No, please don't. I will say, very quickly after having Lucy, he became known for his heavy drinking, riding his horse into his own house, beating his wife.
Was this guy on a horse all the time? When he go into the outhouse,
I really
on
think
the horse?
he was just on his horse always. Apparently, he let his horse sleep in their house.
Levi, I don't know why we need a door that can fit a horse. I need it, baby.
You leave Buttercup out of this.
I don't know why she needs to sleep in our bed.
Buttercup before you, and I'll have Buttercup after you.
Yeah, seriously, though. Unfortunately, the domestic violence grew to such an extent that Lucinda petitioned for divorce, which is a big deal back then.
Yeah.
Helm's father ended up paying for the costs, and it bankrupted him and ruined his family's reputation. So then Helm decides to move to California in search of gold, which was a big deal at the time. This is right at the gold rush. There are gold in them Thar hills, and people are flocking there, right?
I'd like to say I'm almost 100% confident there is some form of gold in yonder hills.
And so he ended up asking his cousin, Little Barry Shoot.
Little
Barry Shoot. That's his cousin's name. Legal name, Little Barry, by the way.
Is she
For real.
Annie Oakley's best friend?
Hang on. Yeah, actually, that's a good question. Is it a she or a he?
It's a he.
Oh,
Even better.
He named Little Barry. Little Barry Scoop.
That's an awesome name for a little, I'm picturing a little cowboy orphan. Yeah, he's got his handkerchief and he just runs around getting into trouble. He's got his toy pistols, his older cousins shooting into a saloon or something, and he's just got his pop guns. He's like, I'm helping. Little little bear shoot knows what to do.
I love that. So he asked Little Barry to go with him to California. He initially agreed, but then apparently he sobered up the next day, and he attempted to back out of the trip, which angered him. And then he decided to stab him in the chest a whole bunch of times until he was dead.
No, he stabbed Little Barry?
He stabbed Little Barry in the chest.
Is he trying to get at the juice? What the fuck, man? That's crazy. You can't stab Little Barry. You think Little Barry was a bad person, Jamie? You feel good about supporting him?
I'm just imagining Little Barry just be like, hey, man, sorry, I drank a lot of Jack last night. I realize I like living here, and everything's like, oh, shit, why?
I was drinking snake venom and whiskey last night, and I got to be honest, man, I don't want to go to California. And he stabs him in the chest.
Yeah, he sure did. And
so
it's murky, like history back then, and like honestly, a lot of this is a little jumpy, a little spotty. He's gonna be jumping around a fuck ton. And there's just lapses in it, just because not a lot of shit was documented,
Plus, you're a cowboy. You forget things.
That's very true. He legit, I think, forgot how many people he killed.
That's very cowboy-esque.
I know, right? But this...
just all the historians like, I'm writing this down. Everything needs to be documented. I also drank a lot of opium last night. Take that into account.
Yeah. So either way, this is either his first or his second murder.
Okay.
It's unclear. But this is like the best documented one. So I'm like, all right, we'll just start here with him stabbing his cousin in the chest because he didn't want to go on a fucking road trip with him.
Barry's shoot.
Yeah.
Was he ever
with such an
charged
adorable
with this?
name?
Yeah.
Was he ever charged with this?
No, he just bailed. Like he killed him and then went to California, or like started on his way to California.
And
right
plus,
afterwards.
they got they're different territories. They're not even states at that point. So like he goes out into the wilderness, they're probably like, nah, not our problem.
Right. So he went west. He started going west alone. Right. He was then pursued and captured by Little Barry's brother and friends. But
I'm Big Barry.
But apparently his antics in captivity quickly landed him in a mental asylum.
They have mental asylums?
So these antics included Boone being found with his horse dead, poor Buttercup, and tied to a tree while he was trying to suck water out of some mud.
I'd like to know how we got there.
I do too.
There's a few
I would
in-between
love
steps
to
that are
know
missing.
A and B to get to the X that they found him at. You know what I mean? But I don't know. And when he went to court, the judge didn't hang him because, quote, he didn't seem right in his head. So again, I don't know what happened out in the woods after this happened. Maybe he had a breakdown. Maybe this was his first kill.
Yeah.
And he was like
the visions
really
of Little
fucked
Barry
up.
just like haunted him.
Yeah, I know. So upon entering the asylum, Helm became taciturn and convinced his guard to take him on walks through the woods. After he calmed down and they were like, he's not that big of a threat, right?
Let's see where this is going.
So after these walks became routine, Helm was able to escape.
That's smart, though.
He literally would walk a little farther each time, but every time he came back, right? And the guard got to the point where he's like, I don't want to walk that far, he'll come back, whatever,
Dude, that's mischievous.
And until one day, he just simply didn't come back.
Okay.
And again, Wild West, they were like, well, we lost one.
Damn it. I should have seen this coming, but, they only pay me so much. So
I think so, yeah.
I got a nickel last week, so I'm not going into the hills for that guy.
Yeah. So he wanders out into the woods, didn't come back. He got lost again. But this time he came across a lone prospector who shared his food and water with Boone. And the way he decides to repay this nice stranger is to crush his skull with a rock and steal all his shit.
Dickhead.
And
That's hateful, man.
I know. And killing people for their belongings or simply annoying him became so commonplace. Like I said earlier, he literally forgot some of them. Essentially meaning that the 18 head count he confessed to was just an estimation.
Right, like that's my best guess.
Yeah, that was his best guess at the time. I know. Basically, he preferred to take the off-roads of the main trails. Basically, he's doing the offshoots of the Oregon Trail to get over there, He'd get lost, become dehydrated, or start to starve, stumble upon someone alone, kill him, take a shit, and keep moving. It was his whole MO. One time, he killed a donkey and made jerky out of it. But then he ran out of donkey jerky, which, by the way, that's a new band name. I call it. You can't have it. And he stumbled upon another lone traveler who didn't have any food. So he killed this guy and ate him.
Maybe he is food.
Yep.
And then I wonder, like, after he killed this dude, like, how long do you think it took him to decide to eat this guy? Like, do you think he was like, oh, I'm definitely eating this guy? Or do you think he killed him and was like, he's got nothing on him, but he is kind of a heavy-set fella. I bet I could make this work.
I really do wonder if it was, like, at the time, like, sheer desperation.
Right, like,
you know
intention or desperation?
Yeah, I think at the time, this first time, total desperation.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Then he got the hunger.
Yeah, seriously though. But now, with a belly full of man meat, he keeps on a trucking, where he comes across a full party of travelers who he trades some weapons for food and a horse, which he rides all the way to California.
Hang on, the food that he traded, was that?
No, he traded weapons.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, he was a terrible shot or a bad hunter. I don't know. Like, he had weapons on him. He's in the wilderness.
And then back in the day, there were just like millions of animals around. You know what I mean? Like just herds of them.
I know.
Like it couldn't have been that hard
And
to find
again,
a deer.
there's a lot of like spotty research or like a lot of like really spotty documentation on this. So like, let's speculate as wildly as we want to here because he's got guns, but he decided to eat a man. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on here.
He probably was just a shitty hunter.
I think so
like
too.
he probably sucked at it and was just like, well, I mean, this guy's here.
Mm-hmm. Now, for the next 7 years in California, he bops around the state from mining town to mining town. Now, of course, we mean gold in this time period. Meeting a lot of different shady folk who he would join in robberies, stagecoaches, passenger cars and trains, things like that. It's believed during this time he killed roughly a dozen men. The men he killed were usually alone and at night, all sneaky-like. The robberies with a posse typically didn't end in murder, which makes me think he started to like it at this point. I mean, I could see like the earlier murders, like I mentioned, like were almost out of necessity or convenience, but now it seems like he's choosing to rob people and then while alone, kill them and then
he's
rob
killing
them.
them while he's by himself. So
Yeah.
it's definitely becoming a secretive
I think so.
habit or...
Because he's got his gang,
Desire.
and they're getting lots of loot.
Right. And the gang's
know?
probably like, I imagine like, I don't know for sure, and I'm not a historian, right? But I feel like in the Old West, it was probably pretty commonplace to get robbed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like for someone to just come up and be like, hey, I got my rifle. I got to it before you got to yours. Give me your shit.
Right. And then
you
be
know.
like, damn
and then,
it.
Yeah, and you'd be
Fine.
like, fuck, they got me this time.
Yeah.
And then maybe you'd get someone the next day or down the road or something. But I feel like that probably happened a lot. So his posse was probably just like, hey, man, I'm just trying to make a buck and survive out here. So we're just going to rob people.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, you know what's the best part of robbing? The killing. And they were like, whoa, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, you're right. I'll do that by myself.
I guess. I don't know. But eventually he travels up to Oregon with a different group. And he stays there for about a year, continuing to rob, fight, drink constantly, gamble, and essentially be a fucking gremlin in cowboy boots.
An Oregonian.
Finally, a sheriff has enough of his shit and starts to come after him. Obviously, Boone wants to kill the sheriff, but most of his posse doesn't agree. They eventually decide as a group to just leave as to not draw unnecessary attention to themselves. Boone reluctantly joins them all the way to Utah. Or they're headed out to Utah, they decide, right? In which they rob and kill anyone along the way out there, racking up a small fortune. Now, they wanted this fortune to spend on all the ladies out there in Mormon country.
Nice.
Apparently, they misunderstood the concept of polygamy. These dumb shits thought it was like a lady-heavy orgy land out there.
Like the land of milk and honey. They're
Yeah,
just like,
the land of tits and honey, baby. We're going to go out there. I hear none of them even own bras. It's just going to be nothing but nipples, fellas.
I hear they're just naked all the time.
Yeah, they got assholes like Hoover vacuums. Just sucks it right up. What's a Hoover vacuum? Oh, they haven't been invented yet. You're going to love it.
Like, remember like The Lion King when it's like Timon and Pumbaa and like Simba And they're like, what do you think stars are? They're just talking about like, what do you think Utah's like?
Yeah.
I bet there's just blowjobs as far as the eye can see. Well, I think it's anal sex as far as the eye can see. You can dream that too.
And
You
there's
keep
just
bringing that up, man, but I'm not going to give in to you.
there's just one guy in the group that actually knows, and it's like, no, it's a really weird cult that allows them to have multiple wives, but they really don't have sex that often.
And they
It's
laugh
mostly-
at him. They're like, you idiot.
I'm telling y'all, we're not going to be able to drink coffee when we get over into Utah. You idiot. It's going to be awesome. Then
It's
they get
nothing
to-
but lady parts out there.
Then they just get there and it sucks.
I hear there's a well full of whiskey over there. That's like it comes out the fucking land.
All these ladies are really prissy and mean, and there's just a lake of salt. What the fuck's that about? Who cares about a lake you can't drink?
Oh, man. But now on their way out to this lady haven, stealing some horses puts them on the map of U.S. Marshals.
Yeah, you can't be stealing horses.
Dude, honestly, back then, it was way worse than killing people.
Yeah, 'cause
like,
if you kill
stealing
someone-
horses is a big deal.
You could be like, well, we got into an argument. He pulled his knife. I shot him. You might,
You'd get away with it.
yeah, like 6 times out of 10, they might be like, that happens all the
Right.
time, whatever.
Right.
You steal someone's horse, your ass is hanging.
Yeah. No, seriously, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now U.S. Marshals have caught wind, right? And this will make sense later. But the gang is sitting around a campfire in the woods, staying off the beaten path. And this is when Boone decides to tell his buddies about his culinary experiences of the past.
Just picturing them sitting at a campfire, no one's talking, and he's just like, I ate a couple people.
Well, allow me to give you a quote. Many is the poor devil I've killed at one time or another, and the time has been that I've been obliged to feed on some of them. They said, what the fuck? Why? And he said he did not do so as to not go hungry, and he'd do it again if he has to.
Like everyone's exchanging badass stories. Like, I once killed 10 men with one knife. Oh, yeah? Well, I once killed 20 men with one bullet.
Oh, yeah? Well, the Apaches stole me from my family, and I was raised by them. I am a wolf spirit.
Oh, yeah? Well, I ate a couple of dudes.
Hold up. What?
Hold on now. Levi, you did what?
I needed to. It was good for me. Actually, yeah, he's giving me. Did you ever see the video of like the kid with like it was on the show Super Nanny, where like the Super Nanny like
Oh, that lady. Man, no one's brought up Super Nanny in a long time.
I don't know
Like
if you've
that
seen
reality show? where
Yeah.
she-
yeah,
okay,
where
okay.
like the nanny like takes away all the
Yeah.
food and the kid's like, you can't take away my bacon. That bacon's good for me. It's like he's just telling them like, no, I'm telling you, human meat is good for me.
I feel like especially because he followed it up with, and I'd do it again if
And
I
I'd
had
do it
to.
again.
Like,
Yeah.
that was probably what set him off because they're like, oh, okay, like maybe some shit happened. He's like, and I'd do it again right now if I had to. And they're like,
Let's kill him.
you don't have to sound excited, Levi. Like,
Okay, so now they make their way to West Utah, right? They're still on their way to Salt Lake, but they get in a fight with some natives. Some die. They mostly scatter. Boone and the few men with him, they get caught in a snowstorm and are forced to kill and eat their horses. They make some snowshoes out of the horse parts and trudge to a nearby fort. Now they're dropping dead one by one like flies. I mean, like the one will get snow blindness and kind of go crazy, or another one gets malnourished, and they're literally just leaving these dudes in the snow. You know
Right.
what I mean?
you can't
it's like,
carry him.
You can't. I mean, honestly, at that point, it's like keep moving or die.
Right.
And so, like, in
I'm
that
not faulting
regard,
them for that necessarily.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd leave you guys in a fucking heartbeat if I had to.
Well, yeah. I love you both dearly, but if you're
If it comes
already
down
going
to
to
it,
die,
and we're already,
yeah,
I understand.
yeah, of course. But now it just gets down to
You guys can eat me if you have to.
No,
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I think I'm gonna be. I don't like the cold at all. Joseph, you're the one who likes the cold.
I am the one who I
That is
flourish in
true.
the cold.
I think Jamie's might be the first to go.
I'm gonna be the first to go, and I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna take a nap over here. So like, whatever happens, happens.
And here comes Joseph with like a fork and knife.
You dead yet? No, I'm not dead yet.
Do you feel like you're about to die?
How you feeling, buddy?
Just shooing me away.
Or sprinkling salt on them.
Can you just like eat these carrots and onions real quick? I think that'll like kind of flavor you a little.
How did you bring garlic with you? You had it this long?
It's always important to keep garlic on you guys. Like, I mean, it's great.
Here's an apple. Don't eat it. Just leave it in your mouth.
Yeah, I'm definitely the first one to go. In a snowstorm, yeah.
So now it's just down to Boone and a man by the name of Hal Burton.
Oh, they're down to 2?
Kind of great. Hal Burton. I mean, come on.
Halliburton.
I loved it. Anyways, Hal eventually succumbs to snow blindness and takes shelter in an abandoned cabin.
What is snow blindness?
So we're in the northern part of the West still, right? The sun is very, very prevalent. There's very little shade from trees. I mean, there's almost no canopy at all, right? Mm-hmm. So the sun bounces off of the white snow and hits you in your eye in such a way that since it's a reflection, it takes a lot longer, but basically it equates to like staring at the sun for a long time. You get to a point where you can't see anymore.
That's a thing?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You get these crazy migraines. It actually, there's some research that says that it like drains you of like more of your like resources and stuff like that. So it's like this crazy like high stress kind of a thing. And so you end up becoming dehydrated and die of starvation a lot faster.
Jesus.
It's nuts.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, dude,
it's nuts.
crazy.
Yeah, it's really bad, like honestly. That's why skiers have those crazy ass sunglasses.
I thought that was just to help them see.
No, it's because like all that. I mean, it's like pure white. It's
if you're
almost
out
like
there
a
long enough, it's really
magnifying
bad for
glass,
you.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's fucking wild.
Yeah, dude.
A line
Also
from King of the Hill, like, man's arrogance knows no bounds. Like, we went into the snow, like, we can live here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's like Antichrist, where it's like nature is Satan's church.
Oh, God.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like when you really break it down, it's like, yeah, nature is like beautiful and forms a symbiosis with itself. It's self-replicating.
But it's
It is
fucking
a
brutal.
huge, like multi-dimensional, interconnected thing that will fuck you up in the worst, most horrific way possible. There's fucking like wasps that lay their eggs inside of a caterpillar and then just fuck off out of there, and the caterpillar just eventually is just like, oh, I kind of don't feel so good. I'm a caterpillar. Ah! And then just these baby wasps just start tunneling out of it and eating it.
And then a horror movie happens. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that happens like every day on a microcosmic scale all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
No.
Haven't seen Alien?
Nature's fucking lit, man.
Nature is like the most metal.
So,
So the guy's
Hal Burton.
He's losing it. He's
Hal is on his way out.
He's done. You know what I mean? So he takes shelter in this abandoned cabin. Boone continues on his way, and
Oh, he left him?
yeah, he left him, and he continues on and to the fort that they're trying to get to. Right?
Yeah.
Now the fort itself is abandoned. Nothing there.
That sucks.
Yeah.
It's like an old army fort.
Yeah, exactly. Then he decides to backtrack to Hal, who, according to him, is already dead.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
There's no way of telling.
There's no way to tell.
There's no way to tell.
But I have a mighty strong suspicion that Hal might have not been dead.
Right. And
I was like, Levi,
You came back for me.
Like, did you bring food, resources?
Oh, buddy, all you got to do is look out over the horizon. There's nothing but hot Mormon babes and grapes. And
Just follow
if you
me.
just look a little bit. Is it over there? And he's just like, his hands are like coming up to his neck. It's just like, it's just look a little bit longer, buddy.
So either he's already dead or Boone kills him. And anybody want to guess what happens next?
He ate him.
That's exactly right. Good job, Joseph. One
I don't
gold
know.
star
I'm paying
for you.
Has anyone here seen, there was a straight to TV movie called Ravenous. Have you seen it?
Ravenous.
It's super good, actually. It's like one of probably the only sci-fi movie that was like straight up good. But pretty much follows this
Okay, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you're gonna say that's the only good sci-fi movie?
straight to TV.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. No, you're go
Like,
ahead.
remember there was a
Sci-Fi
Sci-Fi
Channel movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
dude.
sci-fi.
I watched the shit out of a
Sci-Fi
lot of
Channel's
those, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's just where like people with like the most like the most one note script where they clearly had an idea that kind of is cool or kind of interesting, and then they just beat that.
That's all they
concept into
got.
the ground. Yeah, there's no plot, there's no anything else. They're just like, what if velociraptors could time travel? And it's like, okay, I'm with you.
What
And
else
it's
you
like,
got? No.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I got the idea.
Mm-hmm. So
Well, here's $5,000. Let's make a movie.
now Joseph was exactly right. He ate him. So he cuts off and cooks and eats one of his legs. Then he pops off the other leg and throws that dude in a doggy bag for later and keeps on a trucking.
I mean, you know, he's going to get hungry out there. You got to have some resources.
There is documentation that he encountered some people, and one of them like said later or wrote down, and it was like rediscovered that he had a bag slung over his shoulder that was oddly leg shaped and human man leg sized.
Like, he didn't like cut it up into meat or anything. He was just like chop. There we go. We'll figure that out later.
Lopped the whole leg off. Was
I'm
like
picturing like a hobo bindle, but with like what is very obviously a leg in it.
just a foot, just kind of jiggling, you know. I mean, legit. Like he kept leftovers. And from here, he makes it to Salt Lake City.
He made it.
Yeah, he made it to Salt Lake.
It's just me and my leg.
Uh-huh. Now, once he gets there, he settles back into his ways of boozing, fighting, and stealing.
Now that I got that done.
Now that I just survived one of the most horrific traumatic journeys that's like short of the Donner Party, time to have some fun.
Like, all of us would be like, I need, like, you know, there was no therapy back then, but like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
you have that intuition of just
I
like,
know.
dude, I'm fucked up.
Yeah.
I got some shit I got to deal with. And
You
he's
probably
just like,
end up in a sanitarium like slurping on hot broth.
Yeah.
And this guy's just like, where are the titty bars at?
1,000%.
like, pulls, like he steps foot into town. It's like, I need your coldest beer you got right now.
I need the coldest beer, the hottest poker game, and the biggest tits you got.
Like, one guy's like, how's your day been? And he's like, it was bad. Anyway, hit me.
Yeah, right? Can I deal in on this? Sir, you have a leg with you? Yeah, that's for later.
Is that a toenail in between your teeth?
Oh, you know what? I didn't bring any floss with me.
Oh my God. So he lives this lifestyle to the point where wanted posters are now being put up. A clerk of
Man with leg. please call this number.
so the clerk of a general goods store, he recognizes him, tries to arrest him. Boone shoots him in the head and makes his way back to California.
Oh, he tries to pull a citizen's arrest?
He did,
Oh.
yeah, to the wrong man
Seriously?
to try and citizen's arrest.
Listen, if there's anyone who's still listening, if you recognize someone from a wanted poster, don't show it.
No.
Don't do that thing where you're like in TV shows, you know, where someone like you can tell the character's not acting cool. You know what I mean? When the realization hits them,
Right.
Just go into La La Land, do whatever you're doing. If the guy wants some pistachios and a fucking Monster Energy,
Give it
just
to
ring
him.
it up, sell them.
Yeah.
Say, have a good day.
Hand it to him. Say,
and
this
when
one's
he's done-
on me.
Yeah, you know what?
You know?
Have a great day, bud.
Yeah.
And as soon as he's out of there, lock the door.
And call the cops.
Yeah, and this is me saying that. And I don't like calling. I would say if you don't have to, don't involve the police. But for that, yeah.
Right.
You should probably call somebody.
Right.
Like, you know, in like normal movies when like it's like near the end of the movie and then they walk into a gas station and then the gas station attendant's like, hey, what's that on the TV? And it's like obviously the person that's like in there.
Yeah, it's a good trope for.
Yeah, you know, normal trope. again, what Joseph said, like, just like, I hate TV, turn it off and be like, oh man, I love Mountain Dew and the other stuff you got.
Man, I sure do love being alive and working at this convenience store.
And I love you.
You want a pack of cigarettes, buddy?
Man, I'm stressed. Here
Get
you
him
go.
out of there.
Yeah.
And then call someone.
Exactly. Unfortunately, there's no one to call back then, so you know. But so he makes his way back to California after killing a man in Salt Lake, which is just what he just got there.
Yeah.
But anyways, he settles down near modern day LA area. A man takes him in to hide from the authorities because again, he's wanted in Salt Lake, kills a man because he's wanted, and then dips back over where the marshals knew that he was there and also on his way to Salt Lake.
And this guy's like, you know what? You seem like a reasonable chap. I'll have you hole up in my place.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And so Boone thanks him by, you guessed it, killing him and taking all of his shit.
I hate the U.S. Marshals too. Funny you say that. I also hate them.
What a fucking jerk.
I'm gonna
man.
take a nap. Can you stand watch for a minute?
Again, it's kind of like that thing. Like he's clearly a badass. Like surviving that snowstorm and getting through. He's like one of the only ones that made it out.
Yeah.
Now he made it out by killing and eating a man, but still, like
Right, like this guy is.
he
at
was
least,
the
like,
last to survive.
Yeah, Ironsides over here is the kind of guy who'd ask you to help him move, and then when you asked him to take you to the airport, he'd fucking shoot you.
Exactly.
What
yeah.
the goddamn fuck's that
I know,
about, man?
I know. It's
so
crazy.
inconsiderate.
Now from here, he heads back up to Oregon. He shoots an unarmed man in a poker game, which was also a really big no-no back then.
Yeah.
Because like we were talking about earlier, you steal horses, that's fucked up. If you kill another guy, you can be like, well, he pulled a gun on me.
Right.
You know, but this is a poker game in a bar. Everyone was unarmed. I guess except for Boone. And he didn't like the way the cards were dealt and just shot the dude in the head in the middle of the game.
Such a dickhead.
And then he ran away. But the U.S. Marshals are alerted to this and they begin to close in on him again. So Boone heads back down to California to San Francisco this time. Here, the timeline gets even more blurry and lost to history.
As it does in San Francisco.
Apparently so. Most likely he killed some people and he goes back on the run again. But
I think we can extrapolate from previous events. He
yeah.
probably fucked around.
Yes.
Went into like some strip club or whorehouse back
Right.
in the day, shot somebody, and was like, well, guess I'm done with San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. But it picks back up with him in British Columbia, Canada.
Wow, that's a jump.
I know. Again,
Especially back in the day.
Yeah, he's like, I survived the worst snowstorm barely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go
And now I'm
north.
going to go to
Yeah, let me go
fucking British
further up
Columbia?
north.
Again, he's so fucking stupid
Which, yeah.
and brutal and apparently ugly. Like there's a lot of the
I like that they like
documentation,
comment on the fact that like, oh, by the way, he was he ain't got no alibi.
They comment
He's
on the
ugly.
fact that like he looks dumb, he looks mean, is something wrong with his face. Like there's a lot of that kind of stuff, but in fun like old timey West
I'm
speak.
picturing
you know?
his like knuckles dragging on the ground. Like,
I
he's,
mean,
like,
really though.
I
like, big,
cannot
broad
tell you
forehead.
how fugly this man was, but he was fucking fugly.
Yeah.
Man, this guy was a two bagger. One bag for him and a bag for whoever's fucking his ugly ass.
Sir, we just need to talk about the murders.
Yeah.
Yeah, the murders.
No, he totally killed Rudy, but man, I got to tell you, seriously, ugly, man. I could barely look at him.
Write that down, please. Write that down. Make sure to make part of that.
Now, while he's in BC, Canada, he's told about a man that made out big mining for silver.
Oh, silver. this
God
time.
damn it.
He decides to track this man down and kill him. And the two people this man that struck big on silver that he's traveling with. So he kills 3 people in one big, go
For the silver.
for the silver.
Okay.
He flees into the wilderness, fucking again.
Where you can spend all the silver you want, you fucking idiot. Come on, man. Get it together.
Now, he did this with a partner.
Oh, he's got a partner now.
He somehow he picked up a guy while he's in Canada. And they
Who's
both
probably as
decide
unstable
to
as
rob
him
this guy.
if they were partners.
Let's assume, yeah. They're out in the wilderness now in Canada. They begin to starve. And he kills and eats this man too. Now, the best that, like I said earlier, like some of this might be tall tale, whatever, but like clearly he's done a lot. They have recorded in history that he killed at least 2 men. We're now at 3, by the way, But
3 recorded kills.
Well, yeah. So
Or
it's
3 recorded eats.
right. It said at least 2. That's what he confessed to, but there's
Which if
enough.
he said at least 2, it was probably more like 5.
that's what I'm thinking too.
If
Right.
this guy's lowballing himself, I bet. Most of the time I feel like serial killers like overestimate themselves or say like, oh, I killed like 30 people when really it's probably closer to like 10, 15 or
Right.
something like that. This guy might have actually been lowballing himself.
Yeah, kind of like when you enter like an adult relationship and you get to that point where you start talking about your past partners.
Oh, yeah.
The woman shoots under and the man shoots over.
Yeah.
Historically speaking, I think in this moment, he's shooting under. Just because, like, it's bad, man.
If you guys knew how much people I actually ate,
it's real bad.
you wouldn't even be talking to me right now.
Exactly.
Okay, real quick. Joseph, you played...
Are you talking about Red Dead Redemption?
I was about to ask. So Red
Red Dead Redemption 2, baby, so good.
Yeah, I've heard it's great. I'm playing Last of Us right now for the first time.
Also so good.
Man, I need to get that. I literally just got a PS4 the other day.
I was going to tell you earlier, if you have not yet, download Last of Us and then download Last of Us 2 just so you have it ready in the chamber. Because I'm on Last of Us 2 right now, which I've never played before.
I hear it's epic.
It's so fucking good.
What's weird is I know the storylines for 1 and 2, but it's still unraveling in front of me.
You mean like you've read about him before or like?
Yeah, I've seen videos about it.
Oh, okay,
Like,
I got you.
I know the storyline.
Yeah.
And how it plays out.
But playing it feels different, right?
Yeah, because it's like when I watch Sopranos, I know the ending of Sopranos. But even when watching it, I'm like, oh, wow, it's amazing to see how they got to that end point and why it makes so much sense.
That's Lord of the Rings for me. Is like that's something I can rewatch consistently. And like once a year we'll watch maybe a little bit sooner than once a year, but pretty much once a year we'll just rewatch all 3 Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
It's just such a or True Detective.
Same, yeah.
Oh man,
First season of True Detective.
So
I know what's going to
love
happen,
that
but
season,
it's a fantastic
it's so good.
story. And Last of Us and Red Dead Redemption 2, same deal.
But my question was going to be like in Red Dead Redemption 2, is any of this like
Excuse me. So sorry.
Does it reflect any of this? Or,
Actually, yes.
Because I remember like I've seen a couple people play Red Dead and then like they're like killing people left and right and just move on with the rest of their life.
It's like that.
I did in research for this. I did find out that apparently there is like a gang that are like almost like a gang of cannibals or whatever. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Levi Boone Helm and one of his gangs at the time was loosely based off of one of the gangs in Red Dead 2.
Oh yeah, because there is
Yeah.
a side, and like one of the fantastic things about Red Dead Redemption 2, which I highly recommend both of y'all get and play. I mean, I'm not saying anything new. It's a fantastic game. But one of my favorite things about that game is like the first time you play through it, there are so many side quests and like little things that are just like world building moments that you just like you don't expect them. Like you're just going around on your horse, hunting, shooting, holding up saloons, doing the story, doing the side quest, whatever. And then this random moment will happen. Like I stumbled upon like a husband and wife cannibal couple in like this like old building in the woods, and like they were just like, oh yeah, come on in for dinner. Turns out you're dinner, and they just rob you and beat you and like leave you for dead. And like you can either go in there, execute the fuck out of them and get all your stuff back, or you can just keep on going with your day. Like there's so much stuff.
Crazy.
Like, side note, I didn't know there were Klansmen in Red Dead Redemption 2. And like I was just going around what is supposed to be the southern region, you know what I mean, at night, and I was just like saw a fire, and I was like, oh, I'll go check that out, go see what's up with that. And it's just these Klansmen lighting up a cross and everything, and I was like, oh yeah, this is my time.
I bet that's actually really gratifying.
It is so gratifying because one of the cool things in the game is if you just kill random people, you lose honor points, you know what I mean? But if you kill a Klansman, you gain honor points.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't know that. Like, I was just like, oh, these motherfuckers are dead. Like, and I just started like laying into him, just
Yeah.
boop, 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 boop. And my honor kept growing. And I was like, you know what, developers? Come on.
Good job, guys.
I'm going to dab you guys out in
Yeah,
through time and space. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Also, one of my favorite things about Red Dead. So, like, I saw one of my buddies, James, play. Just knows James. James was like, "Oh yeah, this horse I got. I like the last horse I had like raised for years, and like I had it all together, and then like I like ran the horse like over a cliff or something." And he was like, I got this new horse, not nearly as good. And I was like, so she's like the Honda Civic? And she's like, she's definitely a Honda Civic. And we're like drunkenly playing the game. And I accidentally killed the new Honda Civic. And then like, he was just like, no, Honda, no.
You get weirdly like attached to them, you know? Like I had this like one horse that I think was like named like Cherry Coke or something like that, just something stupid. And at one point in the story, you get ambushed and your horse dies, and that's like whichever horse you have you're like with.
It just
right
happens,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like there's nothing you can do about it, you know.
Right.
And my horse died, and I just remember being like, "Fuck, man."
Yeah. Well, I
Cherry
mean,
Coke.
It's like
she was my girl.
It's
you
like
know?
a dog that helps you stay alive, you know?
Yeah.
Of course.
It
You're
was like
gonna
I
be sad
brushed her
about it.
mane.
Yeah.
I fed her. What the fuck?
So yeah, like after hearing like what you said about like you can kill a man, but you can't kill his horse. That I kind of got that. Or
Yeah,
like
for
you know
sure.
back then they were like, how dare you?
Yeah,
kill,
seriously.
like
Yeah.
a man's horse. We love our horse.
Man's horse is sacred. It's your best friend and your car,
So when
and sometimes your lover.
back to it, right? When Boone kills
No? Okay.
these three dudes.
What are we talking about?
You can edit that out.
So when Boone kills these three dudes to get the silver, right, and then he kills and eats his partner in crime, he comes out of the wilderness and then gets arrested in Victoria of Canada, and finally a U.S. Marshal gets him. But
Was that
Boone's-
just sheer luck? Because back
Yeah,
in the
were
day,
they
it
were they
was.
tracking him or were they just
Yeah.
around?
So apparently what happened, and it's really convoluted, but
he's just buying like a pack of gum, and they're like, "Holy shit, he's here!"
pretty much, yeah. So a sheriff, I mean, seriously, it's like,
Of course, it is.
yeah, a
Mr.
sheriff,
Pharmacist, can I get some cocaine?
yeah.
Yeah, it's under Levi Boone Hill.
Like he tells him
you
his
just say?
full name. What's your name again? Levi Boone Helm.
And this guy just reading the newspaper looks up like,
It's him. But
That's Levi.
so he gets arrested. Like a sheriff like finds him, arrests him, whatever. And then he buys his way out of it. And so he gets out of jail before the marshal could actually get there. And then he gets arrested again. And then in a nearby area, and the marshal's actually now in the area, and then finally gets him, right? So it's like he's
The
got
US
out of
Marshal
it.
pulls in town. So you got Levi. He's like, oh no, he left.
oh no, he gave me this gum and he said he'd be right back.
He paid his way out of like this like small crime that they actually arrested him for.
You let him go.
Which was apparently a bar tab that he didn't pay. And he beat up somebody. That's what they arrested him for. But the U.S. Marshal finally gets him. But Boone's brother, who has not been a part of the story at all.
Yeah, he's got a
until
brother.
now. I know. It was crazy. Again, in the research, I'm like, holy shit, he's got a brother? How is this dude even associated with him? But his brother finds out, comes up there, and bribes the marshal to let Boone go. And he did. Now, the conditions were from his brother that he needs to live an honest life, right? He's going to like bring him back down to Virginia City
Listen,
area.
Marshall, we all get hungry. You've gotten hungry before, haven't you? Well, yeah. Sometimes you just...
Sometimes when you get real hangry, you ain't thinking straight. And, it just, things happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch him. He's going to be real good. No more eating people.
Yeah.
He's a good Christian man.
Hey, can we get back to eating people? Levi, tone it down. He ain't going to eat no people.
So his brother makes him go with him basically to Virginia City area, Nevada, right? He makes him go down to Nevada.
Canada?
Yeah. And again, I don't know how the fuck his brother finds out about this, how he makes this all the way
to Canada,
all the way up to Victoria.
Finds the right place.
Dude, it's one of those things where I'm like, how is this real? Like, and also, how is this not a fucking movie?
Right?
I don't know. It's crazy.
Because no one would believe this if this is a movie.
They're going to keep making like 5 different prequels and sequels to goddamn Yellowstone, but we can't get Cannibal Cowboy.
Right. But he, by his father's request, he tries to live an honest life.
Oh, he tries.
For a few days.
It's been 3 days since I shot up a poker game or ate somebody, and I'm going crazy.
Literally just a few days. He dips out with a new outlaw gang to Virginia City, right? They go to the big city of Virginia.
How desperate are these outlaw gangs?
Well, a lot of them were.
A million of them running around
So
looking
many.
for new people.
This new gang, I think they were called the Innocents, which is
I
awesome.
get it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
they
that's
robbed
badass.
so many stagecoaches that the entire city bands together into a vigilante posse of 25 men. The sheriff has nothing to do with this. I don't know if he didn't want
townsfolk that are like tired of this shit.
It's noted that the sheriff is like, you know what? Have at it. He was either too drunk or just didn't care, or is like, I don't want this heat on me. You know?
Yeah. I don't want him asking why I haven't already caught this guy.
Yeah, pretty
I'm gonna
much.
let them figure this out.
So these vigilantes at 25, they track down and hang all but 3 members of the gang of Innocents that Boone is in.
Hang on. I got to tell you, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, as a vigilante gang, like, just team up. Like, if we, like, if us 3 came up, like, as a vigilante gang, and we're, like, the cops, like, wait, we're not going to do anything. We're like, we got it.
Can you imagine if us 3 were, like, in, like, 5 points or something where there's a bunch of people, and we were like, I'm goddamn sick and tired of these fucking people going around doing X, Y, Z. And we just start, like, gathering people with us, all, like, just, like, picking up tire irons and links of chain and shit. Like, you'd feel, like, unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, we brought them to justice and we're going to do it again.
Yeah. So, and just exactly on that point, right? So the ones they didn't hang, a lot of them fled. And then there was a few that they didn't catch, Boone included, that were still there. Now, word traveled around. And the vigilante posse grows to almost 500 armed men.
Hell yeah.
Now, they quietly surround the entire city overnight. Like, literally, every single road leaving out of the city, there's a couple of armed men, right?
Damn.
Again, why is this not a fucking movie?
Yeah.
It's badass.
It is crazy.
The whole city banded against this fucking asshole.
So they finally managed to track down and arrest Boone. Apparently, he was leaving a hotel that was known as a brothel or whatever, like really early in the morning. And they find him and they grab him.
I mean, how hard could it be to find him?
Well, that's also something I ask
just go to
myself.
The whole town's population
Just
is
go
looking
to a
for,
poker
like, one
game,
dude.
go to a saloon.
That's
go
what I was
to a
thinking.
brothel.
Like,
Also, to like get him outside the brothel early morning, you know he was hungover as shit.
Yeah.
Just like
Or still drunk, yeah, for
right,
sure.
just like feeling like hot garbage, and
Yeah.
then he like looks up and he just sees 500 people with rifles and fucking nooses
Yeah,
and
exactly.
torches
So
and
it's
pitchforks.
Boone and then the last 2 remaining gang members, right? There's 4 men pointing guns at Boone, and he said he'd never, I'd never killed a single man. That I'm as innocent as a babe unborn. I'll swear on a Bible. So they literally brought him a Bible. He kissed it several times and continued his story of innocence.
that's what I'd do.
Then finally, he just gives up. And he tells them that he'd killed men in California, Oregon, Utah, Canada, and a few in between, and, quote, ate a few.
He just chucks the Bible into a fucking like a fucking puddle, and he's just like, "Oh hell, y'all got me! I totally killed all them folk and ate some of them."
Let's just imagine this scene. 4 men finally surround him, and he's like, I'm as innocent as the babe unborn. And then they hand him a Bible, and he's like, I'll say it again, smooch. I'll say it again, kiss. I'll say it again. Fuck it, I'm tired of this. I killed 18 men. And I ate a few. So, on January 14th, 1864, Boone is hanged in Virginia City 2 weeks before his 36th birthday.
Damn, that's like right around the end of the Civil War, too, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So you'd think like, well, I guess it's in the territory, so they're farther away from it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they're in Nevada. Like the Civil War didn't really touch out there that much. Of course, they all knew about it going on and everything like that. But apparently 6,000 people came to watch this hanging.
6,000 people.
His final request was for one more drink of whiskey.
Hell yeah.
I can respect that.
The man on the hanging
I was
pole.
going to ask for like a finger or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we got 3 fingers of whiskey for me, please.
And just 3 fingers.
For me
come on, y'all.
For me to snack on. You know?
All right, let's go ahead and let's cook this turkey. Throw the switch.
The man on the hanging pole next to him starts weeping. Boone turns to him to say, "Stop making such a fuss. There's no use in being afraid to die." Then he becomes impatient while they're being prayed over. And he tells the executioner, "For God's sakes, if you're going to hang me, I want you to do it and get through with it. If not, I want you to tie up my finger for me." Which some histories say that he had injured his finger somehow in the skirmish while being arrested.
Oh.
Others think or speculating that they literally wanted them to tie all of his fingers but his middle one down. So he could go out with a bang. So they kick the box out from the man standing next to Boone so he can be hung. Who then Boone says for his final words, "My turn next. I'll be in hell with you in a minute." He then jumps off his own box before they could kick it out from underneath him.
I got to give this guy props for at least that. That's pretty great.
And that's the story of Levi Boone Helm. Again, I do not know why this is not a movie. Seriously.
Dude, genuine, unfiltered hellbilly.
A hellbilly for sure. Like,
this seems like it should be a fucking Rob Zombie movie.
Let's call Rob Zombie after that we...
Someone get Rob Zombie on the phone right now.
Thoughts?
I'm trying to think of a good joke because, like, there's just so much there. Right?
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah, seriously, this could be a whole ass movie or like a TV series or like.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
There's so much potential for this. Cowboy Cannibal. I mean, come on.
I know.
It's like Cocaine Bear. Yeah. It writes itself.
Yeah. It's like you are guaranteed butts and seats.
Yeah. I would watch the shit out of this. I mean, seriously. And it just, I mean, who would we cast? Why is Sam not here? Who would we cast for this guy? Like, seriously.
Oh, man. Who would be a good cast? Someone ugly.
Yeah, I know.
Who's the biggest, ugliest guy?
Biggest, ugliest dude in Hollywood. How many ugly people are there?
Not a ton.
Not a ton.
No.
I feel like most of the uggos are a little too old.
There's the cat that was a really fantastic actor. He died too early. I think heroin overdose. He was like in Hunger Games and...
Are you talking about Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Yeah.
You know what?
I feel like he'd do a good job.
I want to be crazy with
I
it.
think he'd do a good job in that role.
Yeah.
I want to get
He plays a good
Buscemi
bad
on
guy.
this.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm going to be crazy with it. I want to get Buscemi on this.
Steve Buscemi would be good.
If you could get a younger Buscemi.
No, like, well, yeah, if you could get a younger Buscemi.
We'd have to put him in the gym for a little while. I think he needs to be a little, broad.
Yeah, because I feel like
thick.
this guy was like, he probably was like a little bit barrel chested, like
I'm
probably
thinking
big
so.
shoulders, big arms kind of
Knuckle
thing.
dragger type guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you could make Buscemi just because he's got that squirreliness about him.
Yeah, he does kind of.
So if you could just get like a young Steve Buscemi, and
Plus
just be
he was
like,
a firefighter, so he's probably kind of that wiry strong, where he doesn't look super strong, but he is.
He could take a guy down and eat him.
I could see that. You know what? Why don't we get Bill Skarsgård? He looks like a young Steve Buscemi.
Oh yeah. That's a good one. I like it.
He's not necessarily ugly, but he is interesting looking.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I could see him like, especially because like he did so great in what's the Barbarian?
Yeah.
I could see him.
For sure,
doing that. Cannibal Cowboy. Mm-hmm. I bet he'd do it too.
Yeah.
He's Pennywise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did a great job in that too. But it's just one of those things. I know for a fact. Like, I mean, I love Tombstone, for example.
Right.
Great movie. Great movie. That's believable, though. If I watched this movie, not knowing that this actually happened, this dude actually lived and did what he did, and probably more, I would be watching this movie and I'm like, well, this is a fun, like campy horror take on a Western, but
I feel like
this is total bullshit.
Like this guy forgot about stuff that would have been life-changing to other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we always talk, we've talked before in this podcast about like the line, if you cross that line, you're kind of screwed,
Right.
And I mean, maybe when he stabbed his cousin on his way out to the gold rush.
If you can stab Little Barry Shoot to death,
if you can stab
everything after that is probably a lot easier.
Exactly. But, it's a fun one though.
Man, that is a rootin' tootin' shooting up like cowboy story, man. That's fun.
Yeah.
You got elements of the Donner Party. You got elements of the OK Corral. You got all the good stuff, man. You got all the highlights for the cowboy lifestyle.
I know.
Just sitting at a campfire, drinking coffee and eating beans mixed with leg.
So one current theme that we have that I love exploring is the idea of desperation, where you see, like, in one of the past episodes we talked about Eileen Voorhees, where we talked about people.
Hers is more of a sad story.
Yeah, it's a sad story.
Did you say Eileen Voorhees?
Is it
Warnos?
Warnos,
yeah.
Sorry.
Although, if Jason Voorhees and Eileen Warnos had a kid, someone write that.
Yeah, right.
But my point being, like, I think it's an interesting concept to like talk about. Like, what is it like when you leave a human in the most desperate point of their life? Like, what are they willing to do? Like, in that point, like, it was very understandable what she did. And then
The first one.
I think the whole thing, like, when you talk about her whole life, like, it seems like a very natural progression. But with this one, it's just like, oh, God, did you have to do that?
Dude, no, I don't think you had to do any of it. You know what I mean?
Maybe the first, maybe not.
I got to kill Little Barry.
Not Little Barry. Little Barry, that one was, that was a bummer. No one wanted to see Little Barry die.
No.
But I think after the second couple, after that, maybe he was in a position where he was like, look, I've got to eat this dude.
In his mind, it's survival. Yeah, I suppose so.
But shooting up a poker game and just like, raising hell.
I think he was just a fucking sociopath that was too fucking dumb to know to do anything else. I mean, it seemed like he was existing solely on it. It was, I'm horny, so I'm going to pay somebody to fuck. I want to get drunk, so I'm going to go get drunk. I'm
hungry.
I like gambling, so I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I'm hungry. There's a guy over here. Let me kill him and eat him. Like, it just seems to be...
Like, his brain was almost
ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
In its simplicity. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the easiest way to get to the pleasure center? Kill and eat this dude. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And the only reason that he got away with this shit for so long is because it's the Wild West.
Right.
14
Or a
years.
judge is just like, man, this guy's fucked up. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, if that guy had existed today, I mean, he'd probably just be a senator or something.
Yeah.
God, did you have to go so dark?
He'd probably, there'd probably be pictures of him and, like, Bill Clinton with Epstein or something. Who's that, Bill? Oh, that's my buddy. That's Bill Levi Bill. What's his fucking name?
Boonhelm. Yeah,
Let's Levi Boonhill, man. He's the best, man. He's the only one who can talk Hillary down when she gets all pissed off, man.
He killed Nate, that guy, but it was on uncharted territory, so you know.
Man, everything goes down in international waters, baby. You gotta relax a little bit. Come on, man.
I can bring my saxophone.
Oh, I can play the saxophone. Man, Hillary don't like it no more, man. She getting all bitchy.
Well, any parting thoughts for anybody?
Man, that was I felt like I could smell the horse. I felt like I was on the cattle trail. Like I was there in the snowstorm, eyeing that dude like a cartoon when a guy's head's just replaced by a big turkey. I just, that was a fun ride.
Good deal.
So I'm thinking about like the snowstorm bit. The snowstorm bit, like, because like one of my favorite stories in all human history is like the what was it? The
Dilatov Pass.
The Dilatov Pass?
Where those
That's a cool one.
Yeah, where those like mountaineers got like stuck in a pass in like Russia.
It was in
and
Russia.
then they all died, and no one for the longest time knew what had happened to them.
No, I was about to say when the plane crashed and it was a whole bunch of people that like crashed.
Soccer players?
In the Andes.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
soccer players?
Yeah.
It's a soccer team that, yeah.
And like,
Man, if you're going to have to eat some people, I mean, professional soccer players probably tasted pretty good.
See, I
no,
think
they're all
stringy.
stringy. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's muscle, you know? I mean, it's like, there's a lot of protein in there.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Thank God.
I'm not saying it's good that what happened. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to be crash landed and have to eat some people, I'd say you could do worse than professional soccer players.
Oh,
Could you
you're
imagine
going to
eating-
side with Joseph on this one?
Thank you, Grant.
No, he's right. Because we could use the Donner Party as an example. They were all starving. If you're talking about stringy, I mean, you're just like
Yeah.
gnawing at a bone, being
There's
like,
no
fuck, there was
nutritional
nothing
value
here.
to that meat,
Yeah.
you know, because
Yeah.
they're all like depleted. But you get a bunch of like fucking professional athletes. Can you imagine eating like?
He's not wrong. I would like to go after a big fat guy, but
Yeah, big fat guy be nice, but you know, I mean, like, I'm
Tender.
not gonna not eat David Beckham.
Sure.
Like David Beckham's like, I can make it. And he's like, nah.
Nah, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I think David's gonna be okay. Bam, with a rock. No, I don't think he's gonna make it. We should eat him.
Yeah, I think his head landed on the back of this rock for some reason. So
I think you just couldn't wait to eat people.
we just crash landed. Why is he dead?
Well, he crash landed. Everyone else survived. Well, I mean, he didn't. So let's eat him.
We've been here for 2 hours. Yeah, but we might be here longer. That would be my biggest fear.
Don't want it to go bad. We're in the mountains. He's covered in snow. Yeah, but I mean, you know, the sun's kind of high right
But
now.
can you imagine getting like shipwrecked or something, and then just like how long do you give yourself before you're like, I'm eating people? You know, because like you don't want to do it 5 hours in, and then a helicopter zooms overhead, and you're like, man, I just look like an asshole now. Like, what's the appropriate amount of time? Okay, that's the question I want to end.
Okay,
on.
okay.
What's the appropriate amount of time to wait before you just start eating your homies who died?
Okay, so
2
let's
weeks.
say like
2 weeks? Damn, Grant, you're stronger than me.
Yeah,
let's say
that's when
it's,
actual starvation starts to
it's the three of
becomes
us.
life threatening. Yeah.
We crash land, and it's not even the mountains. We're like in Puerto Rico. Like we
Then I
know
need a
there's
coconut, baby.
They have phones in Puerto Rico.
yeah, like there's probably like a city near.
not just like-
No, hang on. I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
There's a city
ahead.
nearby. The weather is great. There's coconuts nearby. And I'm like, oh, Joseph, check out this coconut. Bam!
I mean, I wouldn't immediately do it.
And then I eat Joseph.
Oh, you're eating me? Okay.
Yeah.
I am delicious.
I just want to know what Joseph is. Also, for the listeners out there, Joseph is much more stronger than me and faster than me. And whenever I get a little too drunk, I try to fight him. It never goes well.
I see. So this is
I
more of
wanted,
a show of prowess.
I want it noted on the podcast that Jamie, when he gets very drunk, pretty much exclusively talks about ways he wants to try to kill me.
Yeah.
And ways in which he would kill me, given the opportunity.
Yeah.
And last time it happened, I think we came to an understanding because I put him on the ground and put my elbow into the middle of his chest until he stopped.
No, he does this thing where like
buddies.
Like buddies.
He uses his very strong grip. Again, Joseph is very strong. He uses a strong grip to grab one of my ribs, and it's very painful.
You just grab one of the ribs and you hold on to it until they stop doing whatever they're doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
It works.
It definitely works. But I see myself as Batman and he's Superman. I got to figure out how to kill Superman.
Okay, yeah. So that's why we're clonking him on the head with a coconut.
Right, that's planning.
Way too fast.
Right.
Way too fast into being shipwrecked.
If anything, probably what'll happen is I'll just be like, holy shit, man, are you guys okay? That was crazy. Bonk. Ow, what the fuck?
Sorry, that fell.
Sorry. Coconut totally just fell onto you. That was crazy.
Quite like, damn it, it didn't work that way. All right. I'll go figure this out.
Surprisingly hard head.
His skull is much thicker than I thought. Duly noted.
I would wait probably because I don't want to. I want to be honest with myself. I feel like a week.
I mean, I'm sure at this table we've gone more than a day without eating before at some point in our lives. Right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. It sucks.
I don't want to revisit that.
3 days into not eating, God, that's brutal.
Yeah, it's hard.
7 days, my God.
Okay, let me say this. If it was just the three of us, I feel like I would probably not eat you guys because I would be like, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. You know, these are my friends. I'm going to get their bodies somehow back to their families or whatever. But if it's like us three and some randos,
Well, yeah.
week tops. I'm forming a Survivor style alliance with you guys, and everyone else.
We got to figure it out, baby.
On the menu.
Well, it also kind of lines back to what I was talking about with Boone here, is that I don't think he ever felt a strong connection in that way.
No, he
to
doesn't
anyone,
seem like that.
right? I mean, he married someone, had a daughter. By the way, he never saw them ever again.
Yeah, they just kind of
He left.
faded out.
That means that he didn't give a shit about her or his daughter, which is horrible.
Yeah.
And stabbed his own cousin in the chest because he disagreed with him, basically.
Yeah.
So clearly, everyone around him is just some rando. You know what I mean? So for him to kill and eat that person, I guess didn't mean anything to him, which is crazy.
Yeah, even so, to like disassociate other human beings from yourself to that degree.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some
that does
people
speak to a certain
do need to be
personality.
removed from this planet.
Oh yeah,
And
sure.
he was one of them.
Yeah, there are plenty of people who, if they died, we'd have nothing but good times.
Exactly.
Come on, Mitch McConnell. Come on, baby.
You old turtle ass bastard.
Fucking
Die.
Moscow Mitch, son of a
Yes.
bitch. Come on,
I
man.
know, I agree. Well, I think that's a good time to wrap up everything. This has been another episode of Murder Schmurder.
Presented by the lovely Grant. Thank you so much for taking us on that sweet
course.
cattle trail.
I enjoyed doing it, and I enjoyed having you here with me, Joseph.
Oh, what was that?
Thank you.
What was that old game? Was it Oregon Trail?
The Oregon Trail.
Trail.
You died
Yeah.
of dysentery.
Yeah.
And then we ate you. And thank you so much for joining me, Jamie.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it always.
All right, until next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And the book of mysteries closes on our heroes. Until next time, my fellow wanderer, my kindred spirit of the galaxy. We had some laughs, some scares, and maybe even learned something along the way. Think of us for your next podcast listening pleasure. Think of us when you go to sleep and the house settles and you close your eyes and you feel something.
I set an alarm for 6:30.
Could you just stand over there? Do you have to be so close to recording a podcast?
If you like what you hear, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at Trashville_USA. And if there's a true crime story you want us to cover, email us at don'temailtrashville@gmail.com. Am I getting paid for this?
right?
No, we're not.
Bitcoin.
You get 1/116th of a bit. No, 1/100. No,
Ow.
1/1.
It's a centipede.